Hey everyone, it's Leanne, and yesterday I shared with you a technique that I use to plan a webinar for sales, so a sales webinar, um, where basically we started off with giving a really good headline to catch people's attention, telling your story, teaching something, and then selling something and giving a call to action. Well, today I want to share with you a technique that I learned through doing. And I noticed that a lot of people, when they did sales webinars, and still to this day, they stick to the plan. And that can work. So they don't answer many questions. Sometimes they don't answer any questions until the end of the webinar, and then they pick and choose the questions they want to answer according to what's going to help make the sales, what's going to help push people forward versus people who are maybe negative and you want to ignore. And some people just completely ignore the question queue and they go through the webinar and then they basically say, I gotta go, right? And so I wanted to share with you two options and what I personally do and why it works for me. And the first option obviously is to do what I just described, which is stick to the plan, don't get sidetracked, stay with it, and then at the end have a Q&A session, pick and choose your questions, maybe even make up some questions and stop the webinar when you're done, when people are all logged off and there's no one to talk to. Well, something that I started doing a while back, when I started actually teaching courses online using webinars, I learned how to connect with people on the webinar. And the way I did it is by talking to them as if they're next to me in the classroom or in front of me in the classroom. And so someone would ask a question or make a comment while I was teaching, and I would pause and answer them and tie it back into what I was talking about. And what I realized was that people got really involved and they listened more and they asked more questions. And so psychologically, they were more involved in what I was doing. And so when I started doing that in sales webinars as well, people would catch on or latch on with their brains. They'd connect, they'd feel like I was listening to them, and that would make them more likely to go and check out the product that I was selling. And so one way to do that again is just to answer people's questions, and again, you can pick and choose depending on how many questions you're getting. If you're getting bombarded, obviously you can't do that because you do need to get through whatever you're teaching. But what I often do is I will completely shift the direction of a webinar for someone. And now this is more in a training type of webinar, right? I've taught webinars where I'll start off, and as I'm going, I'll check with the people. How does this sit with you? Do you understand this? Where are you coming from? And from their questions and comments, I'll see that the direction I'm headed is either too advanced or too slow, or it's just not what they really want. And so I've shifted entire webinars into something completely different and then tied it back to what I wanted in order to work with the people on the call. And how do you do that? Well, you listen. You listen and you take time to listen. You don't get stuck on the plan that you have going. So again, on a sales webinar, probably not the best thing to do. But when you are teaching, and maybe just in the context of teaching inside your sales webinar, you absolutely can do that, and you're going to get more people to like you and trust you because you're listening to them. So what is this special skill I want to teach you? It's listening and acting accordingly. And it's no different from you being coached, right? When you have a coach and they tell you to do something, you should probably listen to them and do it. Otherwise, you're paying them for their time and you're not taking action on it. Well, the people on your call, the people on your webinar that you're either training or selling to are like your coaches. They're telling you, here's how what you're saying is working for me, or here's how it's not working for me, and you adjust from there. And if you listen to them and you adjust and you shift direction, you're going to have more followers, again, more people who like you, trust you. Just like when you told your story, they're going to like you even more, they're going to connect with you, and you're going to have that platform, that value from which to sell. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope this is helpful to you. Teaching is something that I love doing. I've been doing it on webinars for years now, probably about 3.5 years. And so I've got quite a bit of experience with it, and I've obviously taught before. I was a high school teacher for 4 years, and I taught yoga. And so teaching is what I've been doing all my life, and all throughout that time, all the hours that I've put into teaching, I've taken a few things, hopefully more than a few things, and really turned them into my skill set and things that I do that other people don't. And I think that these things are going to be helpful to you. So listening is one of them, very, very basic, but it does, it makes a world of a difference. So I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye, everyone.